Hey everybody, how you doing today? It's your boy Double Jesus, coming back with you on some more Marvel's Avengers beta. Today we're gonna look at Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel. So what we did here, I had to reset my account for this or save game. Basically leveled her up to level 15, and I've only used one skill point leveling her up. So we've got a full set of skills here essentially to test out and look at some of her abilities. And honestly, after looking at these abilities and after testing her, honestly, it is very tough to go wrong with your build. The only exception in my eyes is a lot of her grab abilities. The ones that I feel are good, you they're not really worth going that far down the tree, in my opinion. You're gonna get a lot more by spreading out. I feel like she's got probably one of the more balanced skill trees. I could easily see. So we'll just start from the top here. Um, Miss Marvel excels at breaking shields and medium range combat. She's one of the few characters in the game that can consistently put out a high amount of damage at medium range. She is amazing at that. Uh, Standing behind Hulk and breaking shields for Hulk could just be the best thing that she could do in the game for both characters, and they could just sit there and mollywop. If freaking Hulk's rage pumping doesn't get taken out of the game, they are just quite a combo because you can do something similar with Miss Marvel, but really you want to be playing it as intended. You want to actually be using her dodge on reaction. She doesn't, for one, build resource by pumping the trigger on her, which you can do with this first skill here. Even when you don't have her intrinsic energy meter filled up, you can still use the right trigger to dodge hits. The issue with this is it doesn't seem to be as I don't know, just all encompassing. It's not like an AOE thing like Hulk's rages. Her intrinsic polymorph ability is more like it actually rewards you for timing it right, which I feel was the intended purpose behind Hulk's mechanic as well. Most characters can do that to varying degrees of effectiveness with their right trigger or the whatever the key is on the mouse and keyboard. I've been playing gamepad, so sorry if that triggers you. Um, and yeah, it's I digress. It's good, but it's not as good as Hulk. But since Hulk's more straight in the front line, and he can put out some medium range with spamming heavies, having a good Miss Marvel on his back, wailing away with light punches and breaking shields for the Hulk is pretty amazing. I mean, Hulk can uh, also be helped really well by what type of CC that Miss Marvel provides. She provides pretty much almost entirely and some of the only reliable crowd control that doesn't actually like move the enemies anywhere. Not talking about her heroics, her like heroic hand slap and stuff will move enemies and things like that, and she does have abilities that knock people back and away. But some of her best abilities do things like turn the enemies around or trip them. They don't actually knock them away. And so that's what we're going to be focusing on. Now, if you just want to play for fun and you're just playing a superhero game for fun, probably going with ranged, grabbing people, running them around, having a good old time with that. That's going to be probably where you're going to get a lot of joy out of. Honestly, when I did it, maybe it's because I'm using the gamepad, and maybe it's I know that aiming's a little jankier, but it's a fine trade-off. I'm not really, I'm not playing Call of Duty or anything, so I don't mind having a slightly janky aiming. You know, it works fine on Black Widow, and you feel good when you shoot right on a gamepad, and you're doing pretty good. And then there's some aim assisting in the fact that if you have your trigger on someone when you have heavy aim assist and you go to trigger, and it'll pretty much you can kind of snap shoot once you get the feel for it down. I'm still kind of getting used to it. I think it's more janky than me not getting the feel down for it right, but it's definitely something that you can do. So try to look at that maybe as an option. It's not PvP, so I don't see having it off as too much of a point of pride, really. Ultimately, we're trying to just mess up some computer players, get our gear powered up so we can take on cool challenges and big bosses and do legendary stuff for legendary gear, hopefully. That's my hope, anyways. So, anyways, back to Miss Marvel here. That's your overall tactics that you're looking for here. Now, she can really be played kind of however you want. Some key things that I'm going to focus on, though, is what you're going to be looking at to maybe just get some must haves. And we'll kind of just go over all of her abilities right now. So, you've got her basic light string. This is great. Uh, Damage increases over time, as a lot of combo abilities do. That's a good feature to kind of get you to want to spam a full combo. Although, overall, I would say I still need to do more testing, but from what I've tested so far, this is actually not the most efficient way. If you look at the damage numbers from a lot of your attacks and kind of try to, as we obviously don't have a DPS meter, it's kind of more about just looking at how much animations are in between each of these attacks versus how much damage they do on average. And from my experience, you really put out the most damage when you spam together just on most characters. I haven't played Tony, so none of this is gonna any of the broad statements I make are gonna apply to Iron Man. But overall, you kind of just get the highest DPS by spamming, if you can get away with it without taking damage or having to do anything else in a perfect world. Just a light attack, jump, and a light attack, and a light attack, jump, light attack, because it's just the quickest animations you can get to put out like 300 damage. Honestly, in my opinion, that kind of makes crit build in a way pretty good. Obviously, this is tentative, but for now, just hitting static targets and even just fighting enemies, it seems to be the way to go. As soon as you hit the end of combo strings, especially in higher difficulties, that's when you lock yourself into longer animations. As I said, if you're just looking for fun, we're going to get to the fun right now. We're going to go over all the skills and abilities, but if you're looking to maximize your damage and you're really looking to power game some Marvel's Avengers, these are some things that you're going to want to think about as we move in and get closer to the full release. So light string is really good here. As I said, medium range. She is gonna be just the specialist medium range character. I think Tony can compete, but he has an energy resource to deal with, so he's more of like the pure hybrid, mostly brawler, can be melee. Whereas Widow, I want to say she's the opposite, but honestly, I feel from my experience, my limited experience with Iron Man and my experience with Widow, is that she just almost outperforms almost every character in every regard. Her super, if you can just, I've had instances depending on what gear products that I've had where Embiggen and Black Widow's heroic superpower, I think it's called, or ultimate heroic or whatever it's called, that will come back up by the time yours runs out. This is usually on trash mobs, and usually it'll be like conditions like you have a certain amount of chance to replenish your heroic gauges when you kill enemies, and you'll end up just almost getting it back right away. So Embiggen and Black Widow's ultimate heroics are definitely two of the highest damaging and best ultimate heroics in the game. And so that's what my focus is going to be on for this. Light attack string, medium range, perfect. Now we have the upgrade for Wallop. This is an amazing get. I would probably get this 100%. Shield break is important, and this doesn't lock you into too many frames for too long. Unfortunately, with aerial moves, this does, however, briefly lock you into being unable to cancel your animations. A lot of the animations, as long as you're on the ground, can be canceled. This is another one. This is a good mid-air one as well. I might take both of these, but I also might just only take this one. The mid-air one is, I'm just going to literally take back what I just said, but the mid-air one is definitely a must-have, and this one is not. Hold on, buddy. It's broken. It's not going to be able to fix that, my dude. I'm sorry. You broke that a long time ago back when we bought that. But I kind of want both. I like having a little bit of options here. I mean, really, honestly, all of her light attacks are MVP. Good, medium damage. Impact isn't so much of a big deal, but we've got medium stun, and the reaction to it is spin, not knockback, not knock away, not bouncing up into the air. So we can continue to combo off of this, and we're not interrupting any of our other allied heroes' attacks. That's why she has some of the better CC in the game. Knockup is okay, but when you have like Black Widow and other characters trying to shoot people, from my experience playing in multiplayer, it's like you're kind of just wanting to shoot at fray if you're shooting. Otherwise, you're kind of just going melee or abusing different abilities. Both of these I feel are a must-have for me. I don't really sprint that much, so I could do without this, but we're going to take it just for the options for now. It's nice to have, and this is definitely a must-have. So the two must-haves from Light Tree are definitely going to be air charge and the dodge. You're going to be dodging more than you're going to be running, period. I tend to jump a lot more, but that might be a bad habit I'm going to have to break, and running might be the meta. So we'll have to figure out. But overall, right now, to get around faster, jumping for me is the meta. Run jumping. That doesn't apply to Iron Man, obviously. But we'll go from there. As I said, this is all tentative beta work, so that's the light tree. I'm taking all of it. I don't even have to worry about it. I made a copy of my save game before this. This is the heavy tree. This is going to be a more personal preference. As I said, I am prone to not wanting to get myself stuck in long charge abilities, but I will say, out of everyone with charge abilities, she has some of the best. But this is already good. And what I think can be even better, and why this skill in particular, and you just start with this ability too, can be worthwhile to use compared to Hulk, is because she gets the ability to attack with power attacks, Pym particles. And Pym particles can do some really fun things for characters like Hulk, who can pick people up reliably and do a lot of good damage by picking people up. And we'll get on to Miss Marvel's grab as well, as she also has her own grab, but it functions a lot differently. So this is actually good. You can do it, you can charge it at a longer range outside of a lot of the enemies. Like, most enemies' reaction to your charging attacks when you're within a good enough range to feel like you can actually hit it, if you're not just, throwing it out there, hoping they run into your fists, a la Simpson style, their reaction is usually to do some sort of attack or charge, and they tend to interrupt your power attack with it. I mean, it's an effective reaction for them. Essentially punishing you for usually just straight up dry hitting this. But with her, you can do that at a longer range to where their reaction is to want to just kind of get into range to do their attack on you while you're charging, and they kind of just walk into it. Now, my apprehension here is this does make you vulnerable to beams and missiles. That is going to be the biggest concern in this game. I'm playing on harder difficulties. I don't even know if there's going to be an advantage to playing on harder difficulties. I don't know if you're going to have a better, more appropriate, higher rarity loot drops for, achieving something on a higher difficulty or not. It might just be worth doing to just do it on solo to maybe try and power level, right? But if you're taking a lot longer to kill enemies, it's probably not worth it. Maybe you challenge 3 is the way to go to level up faster. Overall for this, as I said, this is all right. I don't like the lack of AoE on it. You're kind of focusing on one small group, and honestly, her light attacks, you can kind of just pivot yourself back and forth while you're throwing light attacks and almost hit like 180 degrees of guys and just start kind of staggering at least the, unshielded enemies. So she is very effective at that. So I feel like locking yourself into like a single attack or a single trajectory without it being like something where you're funneling them into an area or a small confined space to use your power attack, that's really where this stuff's going to shine. I don't know if I want this upgrade though. I don't see the use of it. You can go from this power attack into any other multitude of abilities. You can go into another power attack. If this hits, their block's broken, they're going to be tripped, they're going to be just ready to getting taken care of, for lack of a more appropriate term. This, I think, initially I'd put a lot of stock in these moves. On my Hulk guide, I had recommended taking this. After a lot of playing, especially this chain, I'm gonna go ahead and take it back. You're not, and you should not be hitting enough light strings to typically be proccing your full combo. It just leaves you immobile and susceptible to attacks. It can be worth it if you're trying to break shields, but unlike Hulk, Miss Marvel and the other characters in the game have a lot more options for breaking shields. Hulk doesn't get the ability to sprint over the front of people to go behind them that have shields. That's one thing. I'm not certain if Tony does. I don't think Iron Man does. Like I said, my experience is not well with Iron Man. This is okay, but I feel like you only need one or the other for sprinting or a heavy attack or short attack. If you look at its medium, low, medium spin, This is medium, low, medium, trip. So we're not really changing the damage that much. If it is, it's not worth sinking 2 skill points into what is essentially the same thing. So if you do like having an ability you can use out of a run, just decide which one is your favorite and go for that one. Then we have Rubber Band Bash. Same thing as the other one. I can see a world where you might want to have both, but overall, I think because they both just follow, um, the medium, low, medium. This one's medium, low, low on the light, and this one is medium, low, medium, stumble, and trip. So this does have a slight difference, so I could see you wanting to take this attack over the other one, but this one has a wider arc. So I think you take this one, you don't take the heavy attack, you just dodge, use this bad boy. Honestly, I could see a world where just dodging and using this attack is all you really need to play the game. Let's be honest here. Dodging is highly abusable. People that aren't abusing it are most likely having trouble playing the game. They can't figure out why they're taking so much damage while they're doing that. So yeah, you could literally just dodge around and avoid like 80% of the damage that comes your way just intrinsically. And that's that row out of the way. Last thing we're going to look at is her airborne attacks. Now, her airborne attacks, initially, I was apprehensive about because they do lock her into a lot of her frames. Not her air lights. Her air lights are pretty damn good. They've got pretty damn good range. Her heavy, however, have some nice things about it. They launch, they slam, they do heavy damage. Her air attacks are great. And later on, I'm going to show you a piece of gear perk that you can get that is going to make it all worthwhile doing air attacks, especially if you have any sort of intrinsic defenses on your resolve or your resilience, any sort of armor, anything, hyping you up to make you a little more durable. Just this, there's an item perk. It just gives you damage resistance while you're airborne. So automatically, the one I have is around 20%. That number can change based on some of your stats. They increase your heroic effectiveness. So this number could be a little bit higher. So there is a world where you're just looking at heroic effectiveness. And Embiggen is pretty good. It's probably the best single button move you have in the game out of any character. We'll get on to that bad boy. So this is personal preference. If you like this chain, if this chain makes you feel good and makes you feel heroic, it breaks block, it does a lot of damage. It is a good chain. From what I've been reading and other people, I myself have not sunk into this. I've tried it out and then reset. It's cool, it's fun. I just don't like being locked into the air. I don't like being stuck, and I don't like not being able to dodge or cancel my animations. So this is a personal preference to me. If you're the Jesus, the real Jesus, the triple Jesus, and that is not your concern and you're not getting hit in the air, take it. This stuff is good. It does a lot of damage. It breaks block. It knocks people in the air. It wrecks bots. You even get the option to do a super fist at the end. This skill tree right here is heroic as all F. So if you want to feel heroic, this skill tree will do it for you. But don't be surprised when you feel like you're taking a good amount of damage when things get more hectic or you're fighting at a more appropriate level and you're not using matchmaking or you're the highest level character and so the things might be scaled more towards you, or just whenever you're fighting appropriate power stuff, damage you take is going to hurt a lot more, obviously. So, or higher difficulties, yeah, locking yourself into place is not a good look. That's my own personal opinion, but I could see these being okay to take. So we're going to have those to think. We're going to see what we have left on this must-haves. I've already made mistakes here, but I can reset it. A lot of this stuff is still tentative. It's still up in the air, and I'm still kind of trying to really think what's the best damage versus what's actually feasible, right? Obviously, in a perfect world, we could put out the best damage, but we still have to think about our defenses and our reliability. Best damage, for sure. You just start beating these people down with heavy attacks. They fly into the air. Same thing with Hulk and his chain. The difference is she can be a lot safer. She can have a flat damage reduction on a perk, and that is huge while in the air. And her air is nice. She is floaty in the air, just like Hulk and a lot of other characters in the air, but she has range and just her normals in the air that make her good. She's freaking Dhalsim, right? So she's got the range to make her better at certain aspects of the game that other characters are just okay at. and usually it just involves pressing lights or heavies. So here we're gonna get into the range tree. Now, here's my take on it. I I will not put any points into any of these skills. I could see a world where some of these are good. I just think that the ones that I think are good aren't worth sinking that many skill points into. And a lot of people I've seen really like this tree. So if you think I'm having fun with Miss Marvel, I like grabbing people. I want to grab some dudes. I want to throw them around. I want to slam them into some other people. This is going to be the skill tree for you. And don't feel bad for taking it. It's still going to be a fun game. It's not going to make the game unplayable. But for people that want to do the most damage they can, there's better ways to do crowd control, and there's better buttons you could be pressing that aren't locking you into controls. And my major concern for the entirety of this skill tree and using her ranged ability, and Hulk's as well, there's a difference between her and Hulk, though, that makes a huge difference, is that her ranged attack is her hand. So while you have her ranged hand attack up, the button that you use, at least on controller, maybe it's different on PC. If it's different on PC, I apologize. This is not a problem for you. But for me, I have a problem where I can't trigger her intrinsic ability. The last tree that we'll get to, the polymorph ability. I can't trigger that while I'm trying to shoot. While I have this triggered, so if someone's shooting me and I'm trying to aim up at someone, I'm just got it aimed and I'm going to hit, and someone's shooting ability at me. Normally, when you're attacking with her, you can still use polymorph. However, while you have your left trigger held out, your right trigger no longer triggers polymorph, and so now you are unable to use that ability to dodge basic attacks. Basic attacks are non-red attacks. Red attacks have to be dodged. So that is my issue with the range tree. However, does it feel heroic? Yeah. Is it fun slapping people around? Oh, heck yeah. If that is your only concern, this is the way to go. So right here we have Harpoon. So you can, during your whip fist, you hold the button down and you can grab them. The thing is you're immediately, like, it's just, for me, it felt super janky. It might not be the same on the mouse, and maybe it is super abusable on a mouse. If you are a mouse user or you're playing with high sensitivity on your D-pad, or I'm sorry, your right joystick, this could actually be amazing. I could be totally wrong on that, but it's also not a kind of playstyle I want to play. Again, this locks you out of using your right trigger, and it locks you out of using your intrinsic ability, and it locks you in place. Bad. Bad for missiles, bad for random guys behind you because the camera is so close into you, you don't really have a good idea of what's going on behind you. A lot of the triggers are inconsistent. You're uncertain about how far they are behind you when they go off, so you don't know if it's actually... If you played it, you understand what I'm talking about here. So those are my concerns about this ability, but it's fun. Then you start getting some cool stuff where you can slam them. This is where the skill tree actually starts to get good. And I can see some use. It's just, you can already do these things fairly well. Not at this range, but you're locking yourself in place. Is this any safer because you're a little further away? My opinion is no. Another grab, this is the air grab. Pretty cool. Throw them on the ground, do some damage. I like this one. If you're all about air grabbing, I could see you taking this. I just don't think it's worth already 2 extra skill points in. I'd rather have these 2 dead skills over here I might use occasionally while running. Just because I might accidentally press the wrong attack button. I'd rather have those than have these abilities because I feel like I'm just not going to use this. I don't think it's going to kill guys the fastest. Is it fun to play around with? Sure. Maybe I'll make a copy of my save file one time, sync all my stuff into Rage, go a full precision build. I want to test if slamming guys into other guys does more damage with precision or might. That's a good test, right? So that might be the only case. For fun. It's for fun, in my opinion. Then we have the upgraded button here, which hilariously, if you notice, there is not a link to the previous aerial spike ability, but it does say that aerial spike is required. A small inconsistency that I thought was funny. Maybe someone else could appreciate it. Yeah, slamming dudes, boom, creates like a shockwave. And it does special damage types, very similar to Hulk's ability that he gets at the end of his grab, like Ionic Burst or something like that. Very nice, very spicy. Now we have grip strength. This is where Harpoon, it can actually do some good damage. As I said, I don't like locking myself into place. And again, crushing grasp. Now you can start snatching people up. You can start grabbing them. Honestly, if you could grab people and snatch them up and move around while you're doing it, I would like this ability. I would like this move. Hell, I would like it a million times better if I could grab someone, pull them in like that, start munching on them, and while I'm munching on them, I can use them as a body shield to block lasers and stuff like that. That would feel good. That would make this top tier just for the fun of it. But that is sadly not the case. And that's her range tree. Honestly, you could just have fun kind of just going punching people repeatedly with her. It's kind of just funny. Also, a little tip. So normally, her range indicator is a little off. So it should turn red when you're within range to be able to punch them, but it is actually a little off. You're going to need to move forward like about another second or a little bit. So you'll get the idea about the range of it, but the reticle currently in the beta for this weekend is off. So just keep that in mind. I was testing it on boxes and stuff like that. It turns red a good amount before you can actually hit objects with your punch. I don't know if that's the intended design, but I assume it's supposed to change color when the targets are being able to hit. That seems like, in my head, the logical design check. And now we're going to look at her last ability. It's the intrinsic ability tree. This is not as good as the rage tree. She can't do what Hulk can do. But the thing is she still has the option, and it doesn't interrupt any of her strings. And as you'll find out here, not only is her embiggen good, just it's stock, just out of the box. This bad boy right here. Look at all of the kicks you can fit in people's faces in it. Like this, her embiggen just does damage. Her embiggen is so good that when you use the dodge button, it staggers people. That is, The only thing I would like better is if you can embiggen and then use your grab on bigger guys. I'll be honest, I didn't test it. I don't like her grab, but that would be cool. That can be useful, but not that useful. Not worth sinking skill points into a tree for. Now, this intrinsic ability tree, there is some good stuff in here. I can see a world where someone could be tempted to take it all. I don't think I want the whole thing, though. So this right here, regenerate willpower 4 seconds whenever polymorph is active. Very nice. This can kind of fit into the pumping style. This is the first one in the tree. I sunk one into this early just for leveling purposes. It's pretty useful to have. Her intrinsic ability functions fairly similar to Rage. When you use it, it does like it feels like it does a damage reduction. I could be wrong about that. At the very least, it makes your attacks stronger. It doesn't work against red attacks, so that's what it means by not effective against unblockable attacks. But it is very nice. So you just will intrinsically, boom, you dodge, and then you'll parry it. Very nice. You knock the enemy back. It's better than just being able to just dodge out of the way. It's very nice. It does what Hulk Rage does stock, unfortunately. You need to stick a skill point into that. And then when you go further down the tree, obviously we have a little bit of a heal. This is nice. You can kind of just abuse it because she just will get rage, or her intrinsic ability. She doesn't have to attack enemies or take damage to build her meter. So that's where she has an advantage over Hulk. She can kind of just boing, spring away on those big old boundy longy legs and just go off and heal a bit with her intrinsic meter. See if she can find anything to, heal off of or pick up some loot or something while she's trying not to die. Hulk can't really do that. He has to be in the fray to use his rage to do damage. Now we have No Surrender. This is the topper to 2 abilities that we're going to talk about right now. So while Polymorph is active, hold X to spin around. Spin it to win it on all nearby enemies. This skill can also be used while embiggened. Yeah, baby. This is it right here. If I had like 1 skill point, I'd probably put it in this. It's good. It breaks block. The only issue is the light knockback. That's my only problem with it. Other than that, it is fine. This will clear a crowd out. This makes her just shut people down. It'll shut a whole area around you down quite effectively. And with Biggin on, if you're fighting easily killable guys around you, they will just melt. Big guys melt within Biggin, but The small people, boom, you just knock them out of the way. And then you don't have to lock yourself into wasting attacks because Embiggen doesn't last very long. Compared to Widow's Heroic Ultimate, it does not last very long at all. It feels like it is extremely short, actually. Um, wouldn't mind seeing a legendary item or something to extend Embiggen or have its time or something nice like that. Now we have the second thing. While Polymorph is active, so keep in mind to do these, you do need to toggle on your meter. Using the ability will use up some of your meter as well while you have it on. And then these are good. This is the big daddy right here. You embiggen up and boom. This causes the havoc. High damage, high impact, high stun, a launcher, so it's not a knockback. So while this is better for a wide area, if you have people funneled in, this is your move. You could, if you have intrinsic energy meter, this could literally just be all you spam, and you could be a happy boy as long as you're somewhere safe where you don't have to worry about taking missiles in the back or punches to the back of the head or whatever. This ability is very nice. And now all this does is reduce the intrinsic cost of Whirlwind by 60%. And it is an expensive boy. So until you get this, you're not going to be spamming the Whirlwinds. And then you can reduce the intrinsic cost of Seismic Slam, which is a bit more affordable, at least from what I can tell. Now we have Morning Star. This I don't feel is entirely necessary, and maybe it's just because I'm not as much of a pro gamer as some other people out there. If you are just the dodge master, your reactions are god tier, you're 16, 17, 18, early 30s still, your reaction times are still godlike. You got no problem discerning between what's going on with all the wacky do. Yeah, this is pretty good, but I'm not certain that it's entirely worth it. Breaking block is nice. This is good, though. So if you are that god tier, if you're the pro gamer, and you're constantly finding yourself parrying attacks instead of dodging them, you like to play that risky game, relying on your skill to do more damage, this is the move for you. I'm going to go with all reliable. Yeah, your boy JG, your boy Double Jesus, he's getting a little old in these days. You know, is not quite what he used to be, so I'm going for reliable on what I'm trying to do. So I will sink this in at extra points, but ultimately we're looking for this, and this in the skill tree here. These are definitely optional. These are not bad, but even with just this, you stagger them. You do the same thing Hulk does to one person when you do this. It's just not AoE. It's not as instant. It's just not as good as Hulk. Let Hulk do the rage pumping. You don't need to really use this ability. Use your spam. Use your intrinsic to do damage. Hulk needs to use his intrinsic rage meter to do CC and to keep himself alive. But he also kind of just stops everyone from doing basic attacks, period, in an area around him. So until that gets fixed, just follow Big Boy around. If you got a good Big Boy and he's doing Big Boy things, you know if you've seen him doing the Hulk gorilla, yeah. Don't worry, just follow him around, throw punches over his shoulders, keep his back safe, back to back. You literally don't need anyone else. I mean, literally, then you can just let Natasha and Tony do work, take care of the outside fringe threats, use supers, Hulkbuster bad boys, you know what I mean? You get the game. You see what I see, what's possible here. And it's why I'm so critical about this game. It's not because I don't enjoy it. It's not because I don't want it to do good. It's not because I don't think the game's good. It's because I see a lot of good things here, and I'm worried that this is very close to what we're going to get at release day, and I'm worried that from here on out, we're going to get kind of more of the same. So that's my issues. I'm just being realistic about this. Maybe we were not, maybe the full build is going to be mwah. And in which case, well, people can I told you so. But like I said, I'm waiting for the proof. The proof is in the pudding. So I'm going to stay away from ranged. I don't think I'm going to do ranged at all. I could maybe see going into this, but maybe that. I'm not feeling it. If I did, I would maybe get these two. If I just had nothing else I wanted to go into. But for me, that leaves me with 5 extra skill points. I could see me having just 2. Taking out a couple of these things, having just 1 in the air. Probably just, 1 of these. Probably just the aerial. If I'm skimped for skill points and I'm really tough for decision, this is the breakdown. So here's the breakdown. Double down kick, must have. Leg sweep, better than spin kick, in my opinion, because I dodge more. Your gameplay might vary. If you run more than you dodge, and if in the future run jumping proves to be too fatal because of all the people shooting in the air and your ability to not dodge in the air, then I'm completely wrong. This is a viable choice. We're getting into heavy attacks. These are all going to be personal choice. I don't really like spinning heel strike. I'm not going to lock myself into a 6-button combo when the amount of animations that you start getting in some of these attacks, if you look, they're too long for the damage output. They're just too long. If you can't beat spamming just some basic attacks without combo finishers, your ramping combo damage needs to be higher. And right now, I don't feel like the ramping combo damage rewards you enough to, for one, locking yourself into combos and combo finishers, and for two, in general, just locking yourself into these moves. You know what I mean? You're going to be dodging a lot. You're not going to get this high in a combo string in a real challenging fight. Easy game, matchmaking game, and you're on high level with some low level characters, you can do whatever the heck you want. It's easy game. Matchmaking is easy game. This, I don't like it. I like this one a little better. Like I said, I dodge more. I could see a world where I take this and the other one, but like I said, I'm getting old. My fingers are getting fumbly. Sometimes I hit Y instead of X on accident with my fat finger. I might take that just to cover myself so I still do an attack when I'm trying to dodge an attack. So what I want to happen still happens. It's not too much different from this dodge. I'd rather get this dodge. It's an AoE attack, but at least I'm not just going to be left sitting in the breeze for a second, ready to take a punch from an enemy I thought I was going to do something to. I personally am not going to go for this. I don't like that it's too narrow of a range for low stun. The damage is good, but I don't think it's worth it. Yeah, what's up, dude? And we'll just finish this up here. This is good. I like this. I might still just take these with 3 of my skill points right now. I'm still thinking about it because her aerial game is so good and because of the damage reduction in her aerial just from one item. Really good stuff. Really good stuff here. So I think these ones are okay. I don't like being frozen animations. So that's my only concern about this. It's good though. It does good damage. It is good. It does good CC. But Hulk can do the same thing while dual man wielding, and he doesn't have to be airborne. So obviously we can't one-to-one, apples to apples compare two characters, but just based on what mechanics are in the game, one character does this sort of thing a little better. So I think you're overall better off accentuating where your strengths are with her. Her strengths are her ground game is amazing. She is tough to hit. She can vault over enemies. She causes a lot of CC that causes enemies to stay stationary, leaving them more vulnerable to damage that you want to do. Range, yeah. This tree, a lot of this is going to be taste, but this is kind of what I think it should look like. These are, if you're the gamer man, if you're the best, if you're going to be hitting your parry more than your dodge, and you're not going to be using your intrinsic as much to do damage, go for this. Go for the gamer boy build. 100%. I'm probably just going to take these to have this option here. And it looks cool. And I might have to have a think about what I get. I might just get 1 gamer boy point. Just to be a good boy. I don't think taking this is good if you don't take this. Plain and simple. The damage is weak. And honestly, even with this, the damage is weak. But at least this helps, you know, justify the damage. But even then, you're sinking a skill point into it. We don't know what the other skill trees are going to look like. We don't know if we can carry skill points on from this tree to the next without filling out this tree. So until we see further game mechanics, I think we're just going to have to wait for release date. And obviously, once release date comes out, I'm going to try and put out that content as well. It's going to be a whole new ball game. Start from scratch, start from game 0. But that's all right. I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are too. This has been my look at Kamala right now. Get the hobo skin. That's what's up. And this is the gear I'm talking about. This is the perk right here. Aerial Guard. Look at that bad boy. 22.5% damage reduction while airborne. Have a great day. Have fun playing Marvel Avengers Beta. Hopefully my kid wasn't too crazy during this, but we're going to keep it because you know what? You got to keep it organic, right? Thank you very much. Like, subscribe. Thank you so much to everyone who watches my videos. Thank you so much to everyone for the comments and the feedback. I appreciate it. Peace.